The journey toward inner peace is one of the most profound and sacred paths a chosen soul can walk. It is not a destination but an unfolding mystery, a quiet revelation that dawns within the heart of those who seek beyond the surface of existence. This path is not for the many but for the few who have been called to something deeper, those whose souls ache for truth beyond the noise of the world. To find the secret of peace, one must first understand its nature. Peace is not the absence of struggle, nor is it the mere quieting of the mind. It is a harmony that exists beyond circumstances, a stillness that is untouched by the storms of life. It is not dependent on wealth, recognition, or the validation of others. It flows from a hidden source, a wellspring deep within, waiting to be discovered by those who dare to look inward. The first step toward this peace is the acceptance of solitude. A chosen soul must learn to walk alone, not in bitterness or isolation, but in sacred retreat from the distractions that pull the mind into restlessness. The world clamors for attention, demanding that one seeks fulfillment in fleeting pleasures and endless pursuits. But peace is found in the opposite direction, in the stillness where the soul meets itself. It is in silence that the deepest truths whisper their revelations. To cultivate inner peace, one must master detachment. This does not mean apathy or indifference but a quiet surrender of control over things that cannot be possessed. The world teaches that security is found in attachment to people, ambitions, and material success. But these things are fleeting, and to hold on to them too tightly is to invite suffering. A chosen soul learns to love without clinging, to give without demanding, and to walk through life with open hands rather than clenched fists. When the heart no longer grasps, it becomes light, and in that lightness, peace is found. The next secret is acceptance. Much of human suffering arises from resistance, from fighting against what is, from wishing things were different, from longing for a past that no longer exists or a future that has not yet come. A soul at peace does not resist the flow of life but moves with it. This does not mean passivity or a lack of will, but rather a deep trust that everything unfolds as it should. Even suffering has its place, even pain is a teacher. When one ceases to fight reality, a great burden is lifted, and in its place, peace enters. A chosen soul must also learn the art of presence. The mind is often trapped in the regrets of yesterday or the worries of tomorrow, but peace exists only in the now. Every moment, no matter how simple, holds within it the doorway to eternity. Whether drinking a cup of tea, walking under the sky, or feeling the rhythm of one's breath, each act can become a meditation when done with full presence. The more one lives in the present, the less power the past and future hold over the mind. Gratitude is another key. The restless mind always seeks what is lacking, but peace is found in recognizing what is already present. A chosen soul sees the hidden blessings in all things, the gift of breath, the beauty of nature, the kindness of a stranger, the lessons in hardship. Gratitude transforms the ordinary into the sacred, and when one's heart is full of appreciation, there is little room for discontent. Forgiveness is also essential. Carrying resentment is like drinking poison and expecting another to suffer. A soul burdened with anger cannot be at peace. Forgiveness is not about condoning wrongdoing but about freeing oneself from the chains of bitterness. To forgive is to release the past and reclaim the present. It is to choose love over hatred, peace over turmoil. A chosen soul understands that in forgiving others, they also free themselves. Simplicity is another secret to peace. The world glorifies excess, more possessions, more achievements, more distractions. But the weight of too much can crush the soul. True peace is found in simplicity, in uncluttered spaces, in the beauty of a single flower, in the wisdom of few words. A chosen soul learns to strip away the unnecessary, to live with intention, and to find richness in the simple and the small. Patience is the final key. The search for peace is not a swift journey but a lifelong unfolding. There will be days of clarity and days of confusion, moments of deep stillness and moments of unrest. But a chosen soul understands that peace is not something to be chased, for the very act of chasing disturbs it. Instead, it is something to be received, to be allowed to settle like a gentle mist over the heart. In patience, the soul learns to trust that what is meant to be will come, and what is not will pass. When these truths are woven into daily life, peace ceases to be a distant dream and becomes a lived reality. It is not found in escape but in presence, not in possession but in surrender. It is not given by the world, and thus, it cannot be taken away by it. The chosen soul walks a quiet path, unseen by most, but known to the depths of existence itself. And in this sacred journey, the greatest secret is revealed. Peace was never outside, never in the hands of fate or the approval of others. It was always within, waiting in silence to be discovered. As the chosen soul continues this journey, it begins to recognize that peace is not something to be acquired or achieved, but rather something to be remembered. In each moment, there is an eternal stillness, an unchanging truth that exists beneath the surface of all things. This truth is not hidden from the world, but often overlooked in the noise of everyday life. The path to peace is not a road that leads somewhere distant, but a return to what has always been present, waiting for the soul to turn inward and see it. In this realization, the soul discovers the art of surrender. It is not surrender to external forces, but surrender to the flow of life itself. The struggle of the ego to control and manipulate fades away, and with it, the turbulence of fear, doubt, and anxiety. Surrendering to life's unfolding allows the soul to experience the fullness of each moment, free from the need to force outcomes or resist what is. This surrender is not passive resignation. It is a deep trust that life is unfolding in perfect harmony with the universe, even if that harmony cannot always be perceived by the limited human mind. As the soul grows in this understanding, it becomes more attuned to the interconnectedness of all things. The illusion of separation fades, and with it, the need for comparison, competition, and judgment. The chosen soul comes to see that peace is not an isolated state but something that ripples outward into the world. When one soul finds peace, it impacts the collective consciousness, bringing healing to others and to the world itself. Peace, in its truest form, is not self-serving but radiates outward, creating a ripple effect of harmony wherever it touches. The more one lives in this state of inner peace, the more one becomes aware of the sacredness of all life. There is no longer a divide between the sacred and the ordinary. Every interaction, every encounter, every act of service becomes a sacred offering. The soul that has found peace understands that the smallest gestures, holding a door, offering a kind word, listening with full attention, are all expressions of the divine. The very act of being present with another becomes a form of reverence, for in that moment, the soul recognizes the divinity in the other. There is no separation, no otherness, only the unfolding of the same life force moving through all beings. The chosen soul also learns that peace is not static. It is not a state to be clung to or fixed in place. Peace is dynamic and ever-flowing, like a river that moves through the landscape of existence. There will be times when turbulence arises, moments when the storms of life seem overwhelming. However, the soul that has learned to walk the path of peace knows that the storm is only temporary. It is part of the flow of life, and like all storms, it will eventually pass. What remains is the stillness beneath, the quiet center of the soul that can weather any storm with grace. In these moments of turbulence, the soul does not fight or resist the storm. Instead, it deepens its trust in the process of life, knowing that all things are part of a greater whole. The rain nourishes the earth, and the wind clears the air. Similarly, the challenges of life serve to refine the soul, helping it to let go of attachments and false identities. Through the fire of adversity, the soul becomes purer, more radiant, more aligned with its true nature. The chosen soul learns to move through life with an open heart, unaffected by the judgments of others or the expectations of society. It recognizes that the only true measure of success is the degree to which it is at peace with itself. External achievements or recognition no longer hold the same weight, for the soul understands that the true reward is found within. It is the inner stillness, the quiet joy, and the deep sense of belonging to the universe that truly defines a life well lived. One of the most profound realizations on this journey is that peace is not something that can be possessed or controlled. It is not an object to be hoarded, but a state of being that arises when the soul releases its grip on the need for control and acceptance. The chosen soul understands that peace cannot be found by chasing it or seeking it in external things. It is only when the soul stops grasping and starts letting go that peace is revealed in its fullness. This is the paradox of the spiritual journey. Peace is found in the very act of surrendering all attempts to find it. The path to peace is a path of deep inner work, of letting go of false beliefs, of shedding layers of conditioning, and of embracing the fullness of one's true self. It requires courage, the courage to face the darkness within, to confront the fears and wounds that have been hidden for so long. But it also requires tenderness, the tenderness to be compassionate with oneself as the soul unravels, heals, and transforms. It is a journey that demands patience, humility, and a willingness to face whatever arises with an open heart and a calm mind. The soul that walks the path of peace does not seek to change the world, but to change itself. As it does so, it becomes a beacon of light in a world that is often clouded by confusion and suffering. It shines not by force or effort, but by simply being, by being present, being authentic, and being at peace. The more one embodies this peace, the more it becomes contagious. Those around such a soul will feel the quiet radiance of inner stillness, and perhaps, they too will be inspired to seek the same peace within themselves. Ultimately, the secret of peace is that it is not something that can be understood by the mind alone. It is a mystery that must be experienced with the heart. It is a language spoken in silence, a wisdom known only to those who have walked the path of surrender and inner stillness. The chosen soul knows this truth and understands that the greatest peace comes not from external circumstances, but from the alignment of the soul with the eternal flow of life. And so, the journey continues, not as a struggle, but as a gentle unfolding. The soul, having tasted the sweetness of peace, continues to walk the path, ever deepening, ever expanding. It knows that peace is not something to be sought in the future, but something to be embraced in the present moment, for the present is all there is. In this understanding, peace becomes not just a secret to be found, but a way of life to be lived. The journey of the chosen soul does not end with the discovery of peace, rather, it deepens, expands, and transforms into something even more profound. The realization of inner peace is only the beginning of a life lived in alignment with the eternal. The soul, having glimpsed the depths of stillness within, now embarks on the sacred work of fully embodying that peace in every breath, every step, and every moment of existence. The embodiment of peace. To embody peace is to live it, not as an abstract ideal but as a tangible presence in the world. This requires consistency, for peace is not something that can be turned on and off at will. It must become a way of being, a constant undercurrent beneath all of life's experiences. The soul must learn to remain rooted in stillness, even amidst the shifting landscapes of joy and sorrow, gain and loss, praise and criticism. This does not mean that the chosen soul becomes numb or detached from life. On the contrary, it becomes more deeply engaged, more fully alive. With inner peace as its foundation, the soul can experience the richness of life without being overwhelmed by it. Emotions still arise, love, grief, longing, gratitude, but they flow through the soul without causing imbalance. Like waves upon the ocean, they come and go, but the deep waters remain undisturbed. The embodiment of peace also requires the purification of the heart. Any lingering traces of fear, resentment, pride, or attachment must be gently dissolved. This is not achieved through force but through surrender. The soul learns to meet each moment with openness, allowing whatever arises to be embraced without resistance. In this state, even suffering becomes a doorway to deeper peace, for there is nothing to defend against, nothing to reject. Life is accepted as it is, and in that acceptance, the soul finds freedom. Walking the silent path. A chosen soul often walks a hidden path, one that is not easily recognized by the world. This is not a path of fame, ambition, or outward achievement, but one of quiet transformation. It is a path of simplicity, humility, and deep inner listening. The world may not understand this journey, and that is perfectly fine. True peace does not seek recognition. It does not need validation. It is content to simply be. Walking the silent path means becoming a vessel for peace, allowing it to flow through every interaction and every action. Words are spoken with kindness and intention. Silence is honored as a space of deep connection. The presence of the soul itself becomes a sanctuary, a refuge for others who are weary from the struggles of life. This is not done through effort but through presence. The soul does not force peace upon the world, it simply embodies it, and in doing so, creates a ripple effect that touches everything it encounters. This silent path is not without challenges. There will be moments when the world's chaos seeks to pull the soul back into distraction, when doubt whispers that the journey is meaningless, when old wounds resurface to be healed. But the chosen soul understands that these are not obstacles, they are invitations. Each challenge is an opportunity to deepen peace, to test its strength, to refine its essence. The deeper the stillness, the less the storms of life can shake it. Serving through stillness. One of the greatest truths that the chosen soul comes to realize is that peace is not for itself alone. True peace naturally overflows, extending its grace to all beings. The soul that has found peace becomes an instrument of healing, not through grand gestures but through simple presence. Service does not have to take the form of great missions or visible acts. Sometimes, the greatest service is simply to be fully present with another, to listen without judgment, to hold space for another's pain without trying to fix it. The world is full of noise, but a soul at peace offers something rare, a space of stillness where others can breathe, rest, and remember their own inner light. Even in the smallest actions, peace is transmitted. The way a chosen soul walks, the way it touches the earth with reverence, the way it offers a smile, these seemingly insignificant moments carry the essence of peace. A soul in harmony with itself naturally brings harmony to its surroundings. The return to simplicity. As the journey deepens, the chosen soul begins to desire less. The cravings that once seemed important, the need for recognition, for achievement, for accumulation, gradually fade. In their place arises a love for simplicity, for the beauty of the present moment. A single breath, a single ray of sunlight, a single drop of rain, each becomes a miracle. The soul no longer seeks excitement but cherishes stillness. It no longer clings to possessions but delights in the freedom of having little. It no longer rushes toward the future but sinks fully into the now. This is the paradox of the spiritual path: the less one grasps, the more one receives. The less one seeks, the more one finds. Simplicity does not mean deprivation. It means clarity. It means choosing what truly nourishes the soul and releasing what does not. It means cultivating a life where every word, every action, every thought is aligned with peace. This is not an ascetic withdrawal from the world but a conscious way of moving through it with grace and intention. The endless unfolding. The journey toward peace is never truly finished. It is an endless unfolding, a continuous deepening. Even after years of walking the path, the chosen soul discovers new depths, new mysteries, new revelations. Peace is not a stagnant state, it is a living presence that grows and expands as the soul surrenders more fully to it. This realization brings great humility. No matter how far one has traveled, there is always more to learn, more to let go of, more to embrace. The soul ceases to strive for a final destination and instead finds joy in the journey itself. Every moment becomes a teacher, every experience a sacred lesson.